I can't believe Batman and the Joker showed up like that and just started to... I kid. There ain't no Batman and Joker in this movie. What up, guys? Bobo here with BrassReel Brothers. Thanks for coming back for some more popcorn. Well, I saw The Suicide Squad on Wednesday night, actually. I was fortunate enough to get this screening pass through my friend Andrew, who's a co-writer of mine, one of my filmmaking partners. He's an actor and has been an actor for years in the DFW area. And a friend of his named Geraldo Davila, who's actually in Suicide Squad, got us these tickets. And it was an official, press screening. It was awesome. Geraldo, I'm putting his IMDb page up right now so you can check it out. He's a really up-and-coming actor from the DFW area, and he had a significant role in this movie. It wasn't just like oh, there he is, and you blink and he's gone. No, he actually had a part. He was super cool, very nice, did a great job in the film. He stayed around for 2 hours before the show, talking to everybody, talking to press, taking pictures, answering questions, and he did the same thing after the movie. Super nice guy. I feel very privileged to be a part of the whole thing. So Gerardo, just from me to you, thank you so much for including me in on that, and great job, brother. Can't wait to see you in more. Well, let's get to the film. The Suicide Squad, directed by James Gunn. Now, I'm one of those guys who actually enjoys parts of the first one. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of it that was a mess, which that one's called Suicide Squad, not The Suicide Squad. Big difference. I kind of hate it when they do titles like that. Just call it something else. Many of you might not know that Suicide Squad, the first film, had tons of studio meddling in it, just like Zack Snyder's Justice League movie he was doing originally. But because of all that studio meddling, that's why we ended up getting the Whedon cut. And the same thing happened with Suicide Squad with David Ayer. So with the Whedon cut Justice League, the original Suicide Squad movie, and Birds of Prey, those are the three worst movies that DC's put out, in my opinion. The crap trilogy. But with this one, you can tell they said, James, we're not going to mess with you. We're going to let you do your thing. It's a total James Gunn film all over the place. It's so much fun. From the get-go, it just starts off with a jolt, just with a bang. And it's not just like a boom action scene here. It's just the feel of it, the pace of it, the humor of it, all is just coming together real quick. As soon as the movie starts, you feel like you're at a party. And no kidding, within 3 minutes, you're already like, sweet, they corrected the course from the first movie. And once it starts, it doesn't really stop. It keeps going. Even if there is a slower moment with some dialogue, the dialogue is really funny, the jokes are really original, and they're not overdone, which I'm really happy that they did that. There's nothing worse than somebody overdoing their jokes in a movie and then it just ruins it. This one, they don't. The whole movie, like I said, within 5 minutes is just cooler. It's just better. One of the things that didn't work about the first one outside of the studio meddling was that it was just so out there with the plot, and it was trying to cram too much into one film. This one, they don't do that one. This one, they focus more on what the Suicide Squad was like in the comics. Much more of a motley crew, much more of a why would I even care about these characters? The first movie tried to make you look how badass these guys are. And that's kind of not what the Suicide Squad's always been about. James Gunn nailed the tone of the Suicide Squad in this movie. They're all pieces of shit, or people that have just had bad pasts, just happen to sync up and they're able to pull off this mission. And James Gunn just nailed it. But with the witch plot in the first movie, and Joker trying to get Harley, and then Deadshot trying to save his daughter, Rick Flag trying to save the witch, and I just didn't care. It was just too all over the place. This one is actually wackier, but it's more grounded, if you can believe that. Think of Guardians of the Galaxy. James Gunn does this crazy, wacky stuff in Guardians of the Galaxy, but somehow or another he pulls it in and makes it work. It's like the characters in this movie. Let me focus on them real quick. John Cena, awesome. To me, he kind of stole the show. It's his best role he's ever done yet. He's hilarious in it, and he doesn't overdo the jokes.
Starfish is a slang term for a butthole. Think there's any connection?
And he's a badass in it, too. Bloodshot by Idris Elba is kind of like the main character, him and Harley. And then the Polka Dot Man. I mean, that's a character who's straight up for the nerds, for the deep-cut comic lovers. Before this movie came out, I wasn't a damn soul out there that didn't read comics and knew who the Polka Dot Man was. But I guarantee you after this movie they will, because they make you like the guy. And then there's King Shark. King Shark was awesome. Voiced over by Sylvester Stallone. He was hilarious. Everything that came out of King Shark's mouth was awesome.
So smart, me.
Everything that he did was awesome and totally made me laugh the entire way through. But it wasn't silly comic relief. It was the comic relief that was just thank you, they're bringing in some good in this movie. And King Shark is kind of like some of the main parts of the violence. Don't get me wrong. It's extremely violent the entire way through, but it's this kind of violence that doesn't mess with your head. It's the kind of violence you have fun with. And they definitely make you have fun with the violence in this movie. But then as you're just oh, look at that. They come out of left field being all sentimental before you even see it coming. And then you find yourself crying. You're like, 1 second ago I was laughing and now I'm getting a little teary-eyed. How does James Gunn do it? And then all of a sudden, about 2/3 of the movie, I'm not spoiling anything, but it takes a really dark and twisted turn, almost a little horror movie-esque, which I love. And you can see James Gunn love for that too, because he did Slither, one of my favorite horror films. And a lot of that you can see transition over to this film. That'll lead to my 3 complaints about the film. 1, the movie was just way overhyped. It got so hyped for so long, especially because of the pandemic and everything being delayed, the 98% Rotten Tomatoes score, all that stuff. They're saying this is DC's best movie. And while it was great, I enjoyed the hell out of it. I don't think it's his best movie. I enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy a little better than this one. And I definitely think the Dark Knight trilogy and Man of Steel is DC's best achievements. One of the other things is that the plot was cool, but I didn't find myself like really invested in the plot. The plot was there, but it felt like the plot was there just so we could have a Suicide Squad movie, rather than a Suicide Squad movie that has a badass plot. You know what I'm saying? I just never found myself really engaged with the plot, like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? Wasn't a bad plot, it just wasn't intriguing. And the third and final thing is that there's a little bit of a rip-off scheme in this movie. One thing he rips off from another movie, and it's not bad, and it doesn't make the movie bad at all. It's actually awesomely done, it's super enjoyable, but you can't help but feel it was ripped off from something else. Any true blue comic book fans or comic book movie fans out there, you'll know what I'm talking about. And then he sort of stole from his own movie as far as what goes down with the main villain and what's actually happening. It's literally straight from one of his other films. And if you're a huge horror film fan, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna say which one, I'm not gonna mention it because I don't wanna spoil this for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. There is a little bit of self-plagiarism in the movie. But those are small complaints and that doesn't change the way I feel about the movie as a whole. All in all, I give it an A. It's a great package. It's visually great. It's really well directed and written, unbelievably casted and acted. And James Gunn takes a lot of risk in this movie, which I always like and appreciate. Well, that'll do it for this review, guys. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. And also, catch my live stream show every day, Monday through Thursday at 1 o'clock Central Time. All I do is just talk a bunch of news about everything coming to the big screen, at home to stream, and all the shenanigans going on behind the scenes. So check that out. I have a lot of fun keeping up with all the just gossip in Hollywood. Look for BrassReel Brothers on Facebook. Look for Bobby Williams on Facebook. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can help us make it to the top. And as always, if life gives you lemons, make some hot, fresh popcorn.
I cherish peace with all my heart. I don't care how many men, women, and children I need to kill to get it.